But then I'm like, what is home to you?
Mm.
Give me that definition of home. Because my definition of home is where my family is. You're not fully living until you L-I-V-E, live in bold letters, like flashing your life. And what does that look like? And for me, it was more of like experiencing new things and being uncomfortable, because being uncomfortable really screams out and grabs you to grow. We have grown so much here.
Welcome to the Embodied Mother podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Page, and today's conversation is truly a treat. We're going to be diving into following your heart's desires, taking those leaps of faith, and just having the courage to follow that little message within your heart. And I'm so excited because we have a special guest, and I'm so honored to have Sue Ellen here. So, Ellen, I have been so inspired by your journey and watching you and your family just move across the world. And I know that this episode is going to touch so many people and inspire them in so many ways. So welcome, Sue Ellen, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and allowing me to be here and tell about our story.
Yes, it's time for the world to hear this because it takes courage. And I know that there was such a process that you probably went through, and I want to just dive into and unpeel that process. But really, I really want to begin with just going back. If you can remember, what were those messages that you began to notice? And how did you even notice the messages of like, we're not meant to live here. We're meant to live across the world. And you can just like say, like, if you want to give like a general location of where you lived and like where you were from and how you just like created this big leap and this faith of moving across the world.
Well, for me, I think the seed was planted during COVID. Everybody was stuck indoors, daydreaming. And I was pregnant with my little one. She's now 6, but she was growing and I was growing too. And I say growing because I was working in the corporate world and I was just overly stressed, and COVID just made it worse than what it was. The stress level that our bosses were having on us and everything else and that comes with COVID. And so when that happened, I remember thinking, like, this can't be my life. Like, we can't just work. I was working anywhere between 60 to 80 hours a week and
Yeah.
pregnant with a toddler. And I'm like, what is this life that I'm living? And I'm trying to pinpoint when the exact moment was like, what am I doing with my life? Other than during COVID, we watched a lot of TV. And there was a show called International House Hunters. And I remember watching the show of Americans just selling their homes, selling their cars, and just starting a whole new life with their families in a whole different country. And I'm like, wait, if they can do that, why can't I? And I have that mentality with a lot of things that I do. Like when somebody's like, oh, you can't do it, there's something in me that's like, oh, no, you can do it. And so this was a thought that I would plant into my husband's ears. I'm like, hey, wouldn't this be cool if we like sold everything? He's like, and he was stuck in his corporate world too. And he's just like, no, it wouldn't work. And I'm like, I mean, but it could. But since he said it didn't, like, he didn't, it's almost like when people don't have faith in me, I like, let me show you what faith looks like. And so I went ahead and was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start up my own company. And with this company that I'm going to start up, I already know that I'm going to bring the tools that people need during COVID, and they don't want to be in the office. So I'm going to offer bookkeeping services and payroll, so for everything that people need. And at that point is when I started building my business. I was like, look, meet me halfway. How about we set a goal? Like, let's say if my business makes this amount of money, we can sustain ourselves. Why don't we do that? And he's like, I mean, if that happens, it happens. Kind of like, I'm like, okay, challenge,
Accepted.
little check mark, let's go. But he also knows, he's like, oh no, like when I start planting seeds, it's because it's going to happen. And we've been married for 10 years, but been together for 17 years. And he already knows, like, the temperament that I have is like, I'm going to do it and do it to the best of my ability until we get there to the end goal, whatever the end goal is. And so for me, I just was just working hard to build my business. And I was like looking at Portugal, actually. So we were looking at moving to Portugal just because it's very expat friendly, easy to get there with a visa. There was just other factors that were playing at that moment because things have changed since COVID. And so I don't know how we were going to move, but I was starting the process. So I started my business, started growing, and COVID was ending. And then they started rolling out this digital nomad visa. And I was like, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what else is. And the digital nomad visa was you had to have your own company. And it had to be established for 2 years, which it literally was going to be hit the 2 year mark when we wanted to leave. And just all these things just kept falling into place. Like when I tell you, when the universe or the divine, anybody's behind you and they're like, yep, this is your life path. This is where you're supposed to go. The unfolding that happens is
Mm.
unreal. And I cannot make this up. It's just everything after that was unfolding so beautifully. They rolled out the digital nomad visa. I found a lawyer that was located here in Valencia, actually, because we were in between Portugal and Spain. And the reason why we chose Spain was because our girls speak Spanish. And we're like, that would be an easier transition than trying to learn Portuguese. And I was just like, look, I'm going to be working full time. I don't know if I have time to learn a new language. And Spanish comes naturally to us. So we chose Spain, but also because of the green. There's no guns. There was just a whole line of things that were just lining up perfectly that we wanted fresh produce. We didn't want to be poisoned by our government. All of these things that are just unfortunately the retrospects of living in the States, right? But for us, for me, I started to feel more disconnected from the States. I didn't feel like it was the States that I grew up knowing, and the changes that were happening rapidly were just not in line with my how I wanted to live my life. And
Mhm.
we were trying to live it clean, organic, everything. But as you know, it's so expensive. It's so expensive to find farmers, to buy a whole cow, to do all the things on
Yeah.
top of trying to make a living. And we made good money, but I felt like we were living paycheck to paycheck, And it was just like, why are we living? Like, why are we're trying to keep up with an expression of keeping up with the Joneses, having to have
Yes.
the house, having to buy the house, having to have the cars, the nice cars, all of these things. And we keep up, but then I feel like we're losing part of ourselves too within the
Mhm.
process. And I felt like I was losing more of myself as I started to heal myself within. The more healing I did, the more I wanted to get step away from all the materialistic stuff. I'm like, so we bought this house. We're going to sell it. And I told my husband, we're going to sell it and we're going to sell it with everything in it. It's going to find the exact person and they're going to want everything in it. We're not going to have a garage sale. We're not going to have to do anything. Everything's just going to align the way it needs to. And he's like, okay. And our realtor is all like, where's that magic crystal ball? And I was like, I was pretending. I remember shaking. I was like, it's going to happen. Someone's going to buy everything. And he's like, okay. Sure enough. there was it's so funny because on our block, all of the houses that were going for sale were basically not selling. They were on the market for months, I
Yep.
tell you. We put our house in the sale. I forgot what it was, Zillow or whatever, a realtor did. And 2 weeks later, we got a cash offer, which means closing really fast.
Yes.
And we got the people to buy everything in the house, everything. So we didn't have to have a garage sale. It's just like, this isn't divine timing. I don't know what else is. We're on the right path. We're like, let's keep moving forward. Let's keep moving forward. When we sold our cars, I got rid of so much in our closet. And it was so freeing to know that I can live out of a suitcase. Like that's all we came to Spain with, 4 suitcases. That's it. We got rid of all materialistic things that are no longer a part of us. We
Mhm.
wanted to start new. We wanted to start fresh. We wanted to start this journey of not having to have things, right? And how important it is for us just to be a family, to be close, because we were moving from a 3,400 square foot house to now a 900, 1,200 foot apartment. So how close can you get? You're going to get real close. Like
Yes.
I kept daydreaming every time um, I started building my business, daydreaming, looking up at Spain houses and everything, and just daydreaming and just telling myself, like, this has to be the life for us. Like, we don't even have to work hard. We went from having two incomes to just my income, and that's it. And that's how we're living. We're living in an apartment. We have a house over our roof, a house over our heads. We have food. We go to the market. We don't have to go to these fancy farmers market to get organic or any of these Farmers Connections or any of these. We just literally walk down and go to a market that all the farmers are at selling their produce, selling fresh meat, selling all these things. Everything that we strived to get in the States, we're getting here. And it's just, I remember daydreaming about the life I had and now, and just, I literally, I can't, sometimes I can't believe myself. I'm like pinching myself. I'm like, is this real life? Like, we can walk to the beach like we were living this life of what we feel as luxury, right?
Yeah.
We feel safe or feel like our kids can go. The kids are always playing around in the park, and I feel safe that no one's going to take them. No, there's not going to be a shooting in our girls' school. Like, and it's unfortunate, and I feel so sad because I do have friends still in Texas, and in Texas where just guns are running rampant. I think the last thing for us was the Waco, not the Waco. What was the close shooting that
Del
was
Rio?
in Del Rio, in that area, that I was like, that's way too close. And at that point, I just remember thinking, like, I don't want to have this stress anymore. And
Mhm.
I understand why people homeschool their kids now, because the fear of like letting your children leave and then the fear of not knowing that they're going to come back it's way too stressful for any mama's heart. And here I just feel the sense of like, I can breathe a little bit deeper, and just, yeah, just dream more and figure out what that looks like for the rest of our
Yeah.
lives. I know people always ask, are you going to be coming back? I'm like,
Not anytime soon, at least. I just I even just sitting down and hearing just that beginning part of your story, I had goosebumps, like, multiple times just hearing the unfolding happen, and it can feel like magic, like you were saying, like, you begin to set your mind to something and set your heart to something, and not just daydream. Here's the difference that I'm hearing in your story. Yes, we can daydream, but you didn't stay there. You began to take action. You started your
Mhm.
own business. And in that, you set goals for yourself. And in doing that, then you have something to work towards.
Yeah.
And I think that that is part of the place that people get stuck is in the daydreaming.
Mhm.
I heard you say, I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I knew what I wanted to do. And I think that if we can just stay on that what and let go of the how, just trust, like you said, to have this like blind faith that I have this seed in my heart for a reason, and I'm
Yeah.
just gonna keep working towards that. Even when the people around you, even your husband may have like not been able to see that vision because, I feel like as women, we're just such dreamers. Like we are so creative and meant to tap into that powerful force within us that it's so beautiful to hear you speak in that you just kept going towards it. You didn't allow the world, the restraint, the restriction to stop you. But I would love to hear because you kept saying as I started to work within, everything that's within outer of my outer world began to unfold with ease. What were some blocks that you feel like you may have worked through or some resistance that you felt that you had to kind of push through to keep having that motivation to move forward?
Yeah, as you know too, like when you start telling people, I think I'm gonna sell everything and just start over in a new country, of course they're gonna laugh. They're gonna be like, okay, you know? I got a lot of that. I got a lot of people like, okay, not believing me. And so you have to, for me, and this is probably related to trauma, but like for me, it's fuel. Like when
Oh
people
yeah.
doubt me, when people question my goals or my dreams, it makes me work harder. It makes me want to do things and follow through to the end goal. And so one of those things was just having kind of the negative feedback that people were giving me. And then, of course, you have the negative feedback that is attached to that of like jealousy, like that it
Mm.
tends to turn into hate kind of. And then pushing that upon like, well, you're putting your family in a predicament, like you're uprooting your family from everything they know, from their home. But then I'm like, what is home to you?
Mm.
Give me that definition of home, because my definition of home is where my family is, and my family is with me. So my home is with me wherever I go. Like, I don't understand why you're telling me I'm uprooting them from their home. Just because you were born in a place, I tell everybody this, just because you were born in a place does not mean you need to work, live, and die there. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much of the world to see and explore. And why are we waiting until 65 when we're gonna retire, right? Or whatever age that they've raised it at. You're gonna wait till retirement to explore and view the world when you're fragile and, like, don't have the energy to climb up mountains to see castles or experience all these things in the ocean and do all these strenuous activities at 65 that sometimes people can't do. I'm not saying that all can't do, but why are we waiting clearly half of our lives to live when we have this one life to live? Like, let's make it worth living. Like, let's
Yes.
move towards that goal. And that's always been my mantra. Like, after, like you said, about the healing within on the outer shell, it was just like screaming, like, live. You're not fully living
Mm.
until you live in bold letters, like flashing your life. And what does that look like? And for me, it was more of like experiencing new things and being uncomfortable because being
Mm.
uncomfortable really screams out and grabs you to grow. We have grown so much here. Like, we have grown so much as a family because now we're relying on each other more than what we would be in the States. In the States, my husband would go to work, I would grab the kids, take them to whatever practice, do all the things. My husband would come home, no connection. There was no connection. And I'm like, I don't want to have a roommate. I want to have a husband. I want to have a family that we do have things and time to do things. And unfortunately, in the society we were living in, it doesn't allow us to, you know?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be in an environment that slows down, that honors family, honors community, honors time off. Like, there's a balance. I get it. We have to work. We have to make money. Like, we have bills to pay. We can't pay in blueberries. Like, we have to pay with money. So I get the currency part of that and the fulfillment for our lifestyle, the fulfillment for our bank accounts, but there also has to be another different type of fulfillment,
Yeah.
and that fulfillment is where you find your purpose, right? People find their purpose and fulfillment, and this is my husband now gets to do YouTube videos, and he gets to be creative and gets to think outside of the box and work at his own tempo versus, "I need you to do this, and I need these numbers and everything," and being stressed about that. Now his stress is all like, should we do? What should we eat today?" You what are we gonna do with the girls today? You know? And I rather change that stress and have the little money that we have than to have dual income and not be able to be present. So yeah, it's just there's a lot of negative feedback. I'm sorry I went on this tangent because I
No.
was just so it's just so strong for me to let people know about that part of it. And, the paperwork can be overwhelming and everything, but like you said, if you let go and let flow, man, everything will unfold for you. But when you start to have this restrictions and not surrendering to the process, well, you're not gonna be able to get to your end goal just because it's a little bit harder, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There was so much interwoven in that because not only where I can see how that negative feedback could have spoken to your wounds and you could have like given up, but you didn't. You had the courage because you knew deep within yourself that this is where you're meant to go. And even in as you were sharing, I also hear the thread of you began to get clear on what was important for you and your family, like your family
Mhm.
values. You began to define those. What is home? What is money? You know, money is a currency, yes, but what is wealth? Wealth isn't just about money or prosperity. It's not just about money. Like you're saying, the
Mhm.
way we live our life is wealthy. We get to feel safe and
Yeah.
live in a way where we feel less stress, where we actually enjoy life. That is wealth to me. I don't,
Mhm.
like you said, living in a corporate world where we're working for someone else, making like being paycheck to paycheck, that is not wealth to me. And I think that when we begin to deconstruct all of the layers that programmed us to think that this is the way we're meant to live, because We go to school, we go to college, we get the corporate job, we get married, we have kids, but where in that do we begin to live? And that's where I'm hearing your
Exactly.
story is like, no, actually, that wasn't living. I let that go. And
Mhm,
in the letting go, you've been able to find your purpose, the purpose to live stress free and
mhm.
safe and live in alignment with getting to go down the street and buy food that is going to nourish for on a cellular level. And
Right.
I'm so inspired to hear that because even if like my dream isn't to move across the world, there's still so much wisdom in here of your story of staying on track of our heart's desires, of staying on track and having the courage to continue to move forward. And I would love to hear, like, if you were to talk to your 5-year-old self, well, not your 5-year-old self, 5 years ago, if you were to tell yourself something that you may have needed to hear, or someone else on their journey that they're just beginning to start, well, what would that be that you would tell yourself 5 years ago?
So 5 years ago, myself, um, I had just probably started what I would call my healing journey of healing my, inner wounds, healing past trauma, accepting ancestral trauma, and, um, understanding that I'm here to be the breaker of chains. And 5 years ago, I was very broken. 5 years ago, I wasn't the person who I am now. So 5 years ago, I wouldn't even know what to I would just tell because back then I still had that tenacity. I still had that like, "Oh, you're not gonna tell me I can't do something because I'm gonna do it." But I didn't do it with grace. I did it with anger. I it was fueled with other things. Were not, um, aligned with my life path. And so I would tell 5 years ago to go into therapy. To get sooner to, like, get all of this stuff out and that that dreams are possible. Because
Mhm,
I think that 5 years ago, I was just like, "I don't know if this is just life." I was just ready to settle,
mhm,
and my message would be, "Don't settle." Like, there's way more into this life. If you really, really, really want insert whatever it is, and it's part of your life path, it will happen. And I'm a testimony of faith and surrendering. It's been my main word, and this is just for me of surrendering. I got to move here, and my husband now is able to watch our girls. I can go to retreats, and I always thought like I shouldn't do that because in society in America they tell you like you shouldn't leave your kids. You shouldn't be leaving them. Like you need to be a good mother. But what is a good mother if she's not
mhm,
working on healing herself? And I started to see that now that we were close knitted as here in Spain, and I didn't have a choice to go and, I didn't have time to think about who I was as a mother, as a wife. And now I have time to think about it. So adding to the wealth, the time that's been given to me to be able to explore who I am as a person, allowing my husband to be able to stay at home, watch my girls so I can leave on a week-long retreat and like replenish my cup, but also learn in the process. Work with plant medicine to help me to identify my ancestral trauma, to work on my lineage because I have two girls. I need to get my act together because I don't want my inner womb, traumatic experiences and everything that have been passed down to me onto them. And so I was learning so much about myself about the unveiling of working on my womb space, working on becoming a woman of love and not of holding so much anger and surrendering to the process because that's hard. And you can't do that being busy, like being able to talk to my husband back then. No, it was not happening. Like I need to integrate what I just learned. I need to talk
yes,
to you about these. I won't be able to if you're working and you're so concentrated on work and numbers and all these things. And I need someone to be present. And this has allowed us to be present. And you brought up a very good point. Like wealth to me is this. Like it's just we are not millionaires and we don't strive to be millionaires. but we do feel like millionaires. We feel like the happiness that comes with growth, the happiness when it comes with healing, the happiness that comes with just everything flowing with ease. And I'm not saying that our life isn't stressful because, of course, the bureaucracy in Spain it's very, very slow, so it works on our patience. But yeah, it's allowed me to grow and like I reminded people, be uncomfortable. Because when you are uncomfortable, that's when growth happens. And we have been very uncomfortable during this new stage and new season of our lives. But it's for the better. I can't say anything negative about it.
Yeah. Uh, I read a book called The Comfort Crisis. So when you keep talking about comfort, it's so true. I feel like when we live in just the mundane of comfortability, it's like we're slowly dying. There's
Mhm.
nothing alive within us when we are just coasting through life. And I don't think that that's the way we were divinely created to be. Like we
No.
all have gifts that we're meant to share the world with this world. And I don't think that it's not just like gifts of like I have this skill. I think that's part of it. But even hearing the way that you completely transformed your family unit, that is bringing healing to this world.
Mhm.
You raising your girls in a way that you are both present, that is such a rarity in our culture of the United
Yeah.
States. You know, you saw the how the busyness really was a form of avoidance, to like live in a way that you felt aligned with. But like
Yeah.
you said, in that busyness, there isn't time for self-reflection. There isn't time to sit and think about what do I want? How
Mm.
how how am I gonna get there? And I think it's the letting go of what we've been programmed to think that life should look like, right? I say should in quotes, what it
Mhm.
should look like, and begin to cultivate and create the life that we are envisioning. I love the phrase like, we are the artist of our lives, and this world is our canvas, and we get to create it however we want it to be. And I think
Exactly.
that sometimes that freedom and responsibility that comes along with that can scare people because it
Yeah.
does require you to look within. Like you said, 5 years ago for me, I was living in a space that I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with how I was living in my marriage and just the day to day. But guess what? I was the creator of that environment, of that reality. And I'm also the person and creator that can shift me out of that because
Yeah.
I have that power, but I have the willpower. And that's what I
Yeah.
keep hearing you say. Like, I had the willpower to move through the uncomfortable spaces and to get comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Because, this life is so precious. When people say life is too short, I'm like, no, life is too precious to
Yeah.
waste on it, to live in a way that we don't feel good about or we just live with envy of other people's lives. Like if you have envy in your mind, in your space, allow that to be a fuel for you to like
Mhm.
get curious of like, what does that person have that you're wanting?
Yeah.
And what can you do in your own life to create and cultivate what you are wanting?
Yeah.
And it's inspiring because like you said, if you want something, like you have the possibility to do it. I would love to hear like your highest moment and like your lowest moment of this transition of just moving across the world.
Um, I think our lowest moment for has to be that we're realizing the bureaucracy here.
Oh.
I think it's just everywhere, right? But it's very slow here, and it almost seems prehistoric at times. And the health system and a lot of things that they do here. I would say lowest moment would probably be just the process of getting here and all the hard work that the crying and I remember thinking, "Am I doing the right thing?" The first week when we were here, and it was so hard because our girls were having a hard time transitioning. They thought like, "Oh, can we go back to our house with our toys? Can we go back to our playroom?" Because now we were condensed in this small apartment, and they were like, "When are we gonna go back to see Abuelo?" Or, "When are we gonna go back?" And they were thinking that we can just drive to go see their friends. So the moments of them crying and then my husband, like, oh man, like I could see the stress in his and I could feel the stress. It almost like felt on me.
Mm,
I say that because I'm the one that wanted to move. And so now I'm like, I'm carrying this burden that I moved my family. Is this the right one?
mm,
Did I just move us across the world, sell all our things, and now we have nothing? Like, but whatever is in our savings account, and my job, like all of these things at the beginning were so hard. And it was very easy for me to slip into depression and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. So what happened to my high of moving, But it's the transition, it's the being uncomfortable. We were very uncomfortable. No central AC. The hotness, it's the same climate as Texas, so we were fine with that, but when you don't have AC, like, we just go and turn up the thermostat. Here, it's like, "Where are the little window, something, we need something," you know? Um, the food, w the girls took a little bit of adjustment, but now are loving it. Mm, yeah, I would just say I would have to say that would be the lowest point at the beginning. The highest point, though, is every time we're just like, we wake up and we go to sleep when we want to, we wake up whenever we want to, except during school. But, that we're like, we just look around and I look at my husband and he knows what I'm thinking. Like, I can't believe this is our life. Like, we have so much time to do everything and be present. He now is such a present father. Like, before it was always work and then come home for a couple of hours, go to sleep. That was it. That's the most interaction, except for on the weekends. And I'm not saying he wasn't a present dad then, but now I'm looking at it and now he's like a conscious present dad, if that
mm,
makes any sense. And I look at him and I'm like falling more and more in love with him because I see him being such a great father and stepping into this father role. And he always tells me like, I wouldn't have never been able to do this in the States. Like, I feel so fortunate and blessed that we are able, like I am able to change the standard of now
mm,
what our girls are gonna see as a father. And for me, ugh, it's such a high, like and he now gets to listen to me all day, talk about more dreams and aspirations and things that we wanna do within our lives and what that looks like, but together, is such a high. It's such a high, like every day I think about like that we get to walk everywhere. We don't need a car. Like we get to do things like that we normally would not be able to do in the States. I don't take it for granted. And it's just such a high, like being able to consciously be a mother and consciously be a wife, consciously be who I'm meant to be and stepping into this healer role that I get to do because of moving here and having this space to. I don't know if I would have made the space back in the States. I
mm,
wanted to. It was a dream. Like, I wanted to do sound healing. I remember experiencing my first sound bath and thinking, I would love to do that. But there was a big side of me that was like, when am I going to do that?
mm.
And here I get to slow down, reconnect, and recalibrate myself. Like today, I do sound healings on Tuesdays with a yoga instructor, and every Tuesday I get to heal myself and be in service of others. And we have coffee. I make a long day of it. And it's just like, there's no, you need to do this. You need to, like, no set schedule. Like, our time is irrelevant at this
Yeah,
point. And that's such a high. So I think it outweighs the lows that are experiencing, but our lows, if you think about it, are pretty materialistic. Like, if you
yeah,
think about it, like, we have a roof over our head, like, who cares about the AC? Get a fan, like, you fix it. You fix it somehow, but, yeah, like, I think if people can really look in and like you said about the envy thing is really special because, yeah, why are you envying that person? Look within yourself to figure out, like, what is it? Like, what is it that you're envying? What they have? Okay, but look at what you have.
yeah,
And we don't have a lot. So, like, when we tell people, like, yeah, come visit, we don't have a lot, but like, come visit. Like, we don't have a lot of space, but we have love and we could show you great places and be in a great environment. And we could provide that. And that's priceless to us. So, if you want to come over and visit, we have the space. But yeah.
that's that's so beautiful to hear and to hear your highs because your highs are like really repatterning. your whole family system and not just repatterning yourself, but like you said, the standard to which our daughters get to see what a father should look like, that is going to have tremendous effects on how
Mhm.
they choose their partner in life and
Mhm.
the standard to which they know that they should be choosing from, right? To see that example and not just to see it, but to live it. Like that is their normalcy. And you get to provide that for them. And that came through your trust, through your courage. But I
Mhm.
think it's important to hear those lows too, because people can, witness your journey on social media and see your highlight reels, like the pictures, the moments, like, oh my gosh, I can just like Google over, like, over these like experiences you're having. But like, hearing your lows brought it back to be like, wait, she didn't just easefully, yes, there was like
Mm.
ease for you getting there, but you had to move through so much, not only within yourself, but as a family unit to get there.
Yeah.
And, that doubt that begins to creep in, like, wait, am I making the right decision? Was this the right decision? But like you said, looking back, so much of our lows is materialistic,
Mhm.
and when we begin to like shed those layers, shed that noise, that energy, right? Like you said, there wasn't space, but even the stuff creates, compression in our energy fields of like
Mhm.
the chaos around us if we're just cluttering our house with things rather than the spaciousness to hear ourselves is what I keep hearing, you know, is the theme that I hear reoccurring through your story is the space to come back to know who I am. And
Mhm.
you're living a life connected to who you are and not a life that you're avoiding that of that person that you were divinely created to be. And I know this life of purpose is for everyone, but I'm so curious. Who would you say that this is not for to just like move across the world? Like who would you be like, actually, if this is you, like you should not be doing this?
Non-dreamers. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, like, I get so many messages asking me how I did it. What are you doing? Can I do that? And I'm like, yeah, you can do it. You just need to create, like, for me, I was just like, I need to create a business that's going to bring money in monthly and that's going to help people and that is something that people need all the time. Like, so my best friend always tells me, "You need to be a business coach and teach people how to." I'm like, "No, that's not my life purpose. Like my life purpose is to run my business and like figure it out on my own." But I always feel like if you don't have the means of making the move, um, I don't know, like that's a hard question because I want to say the non-dreamers, but that sounds so like so mean. Like it sounds so I don't even know what the word is. I would say, like, if you don't have a good foundation, don't move here. That would be the it. Because our foundation cracked a lot
Mhm.
moving here. Going back into the beginning phases, our foundation was cracking. And there was lots of fighting and like miscommunication and trying to adjust to this new life and everything. But the actual I always compare this to foundation, like when you buy a house and they look on the foundation, there's all these cracks and stuff, and they have to hire somebody to fix it. I felt like with the time that we had to slow down and connect, we were able to fix those cracks our within ourselves.
Mm.
And those cracks started getting filled more and more and more. And now we have a solid foundation again. And with that solid foundation, we were able to move past the doubts, move past the uncomfortable things that keep showing up and just saying, let's keep moving forward. Yes, this is a bump in the road, but we've been through worse. And so, yeah, I think that would be my answer would be the foundation part because if you don't have that, when you get here, like you said, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. Yes, I post about all of the greatness that happens and everything happening in our lives, but like I don't post the bad things because nobody wants to see the bad things. And at that moment, you don't want to be posting bad things. Like you just say, we're like, I'm just trying to live through this, like get
Yeah.
through this. I don't want to be posting about it. And so, yeah, like that would be going back to my answer about foundation. Yeah.
I love that because I feel like our foundation is important no matter what like shift we're making in our lives, whether it be like we're quitting our job or we're choosing to homeschool or we're
Mhm.
choosing to just like radically like shift how we're doing things. That foundation is what we come back to. But
Yeah.
like you said, it doesn't have to stay as a cracked foundation. It doesn't have to stay that way. As you slowly begin to heal yourself, that
Mhm.
foundation begins to heal and seal up in a way where it's not gonna crack again, right? Like we've built this solid groundwork within ourselves, within our marriage, within our family unit, that we can begin to take life stressors with
Yeah.
trust in ourselves. And not necessarily like it gets easier, but we have built that trust muscle within ourselves to know that we're capable of it. It's, it's never easy moving out of our comfort zone, but there's a threshold that we can build within ourselves of that trust of like, I've done this before, right?
Mhm.
Not this exact thing, but I've moved through uncomfortable things before to get here. And I know that I can do it. And I know that it's possible. And I
Yeah.
know that I have built the foundation within myself to meet this and to pass
Yeah.
through it and surpass it. Because, when you begin that journey of healing, it really takes a lot of radical responsibility,
Yeah.
self-responsibility to be like, I have made choices in my life that, maybe I'm not the proudest about, or I have mothered in a way that doesn't feel in alignment with how I want to with what I envision for our family or showing up as a
Right.
wife, like I have made these mistakes and yet I can be I can take accountability for my choices and my actions. I don't
Yeah.
have to, be sorrowful of my past, but I can choose different for my future. And I can
Right.
choose different in how I take care of myself. Like you said, as a mother, we're the pillars of the family. And when our foundation personally is cracking, we like the whole family unit and system feels that.
Yeah.
We're the heartbeat of the home, And
Yeah.
I love hearing your journey of repatterning that guilt of like taking care of yourself because really I see that as the most radical act of love. When we're filled up as women and as mothers, as wives, like we can give from that space of overfloweth, not from depletion. And I just
Yeah.
love hearing that journey for you and how that has created ripple effects of change for your family unit. I would also love to hear, like, talking about dreaming, right? What is, like, your dream for, like, the next 5 years? Like, what is the propelling force forward? Do you wanna speak that into existence here?
We're thinking Italy or France. That's because like we're just like we're here. Like we're actually in the process. My husband has a Mexican passport, so we can actually fast forward our citizenship. So normally people that are on the digital nomad visa have to wait around 7 to 10 years to get citizenship.
Wow.
And we are like fast forwarding. He's already like, okay, starting in September, we can start the process for citizenship. So once we have the European passport, I don't know, guys.
The
the
sky is the
world,
limit.
the world is our oyster. So we may be changing from Spain, We love living here, but we also want to experience different cultures. We have like, Italian friends, we have French friends, and we're just like, what if we live there? What if we live in Tuscany and be in a cottage? Like we have all these. And another thing that has happened here is, we have friends that have just lived and stayed in the same, um, they're called barrios, but like
Mhm.
rural areas of Valencia because Valencia is pretty huge. But we have kept moving because we're like, we don't like this. But moving, we don't like this. Like there's like a lot of trial and error. And so like our recent move, we moved because I was like, I need to get out of this city. Like the city is
Mm.
just overwhelming and everything. So we moved to what they call pueblos, like a little small town outside, like an hour away from Valencia. And we had mountain views, we had the beach within our distance, we had everything, but I was so secluded. There was like nobody to talk to but my girls, and they're like, "Don't you have somebody else to talk to?" Like, or 75-year-old neighbors that are like, "Please stop talking. Yeah, I'm here trying to enjoy my siesta, and you're talking about your life?" And so then I learned like, okay, I don't like that. I don't like not having community. I don't like not being able to talk to people and continue practicing my Spanish or, Castellano. I don't like this. So then I feel bad because my husband's just like, "Whatever you want, as long as you're happy, I'll do it." Like, then he's, like, moving us back, and he's just like I'm like, "I'm so sorry." But and so the girls in this transition too have been changing schools, so they haven't been so I do have a little bit of guilt because I'm like, "Oh, there's all these kids that have, like, literally grown up with they keep the kids from pre-K, like,
Mhm.
from since they're 4 years old all the way till I think they're 8 together. They have the same exact teacher, the same exact friends. They keep the
Wow.
class the same for that amount of years. And so all
Wow.
these kids are growing up with each other and the families are getting to know each other. And I feel like, oh no, I'm not providing this for our girls, which now in hindsight, they could care less. They're just like wanting to like, they're just here following us. And honestly, they're following us how we're feeling. So if we're stressed about the situation or we're like, oh my gosh, I need you to be this way, and they're going to feel that way.
Yeah.
And I've learned that now, like the kids are resilient as much as you are willing to be resilient. I know people are always like, oh, I want to move my kids. They're going to be struggling. Yeah, of course they're going to struggle at the beginning because we're struggling. We're all struggling together. But once they find that groove, they find their friends. Our girls are like now go down and walk down to the market. They're seeing their friends, hugging, and all this. And I'm like, oh, this is what I wanted. I wanted the community. Like I wanted a community. Yes, there were a bunch of older people that celebrated our 6-year-old, but they like made the time to sing to her and to they were making a paella and made it a day about her and all these things. They didn't have to, you know. And this is a community I was striving for, so I think we're gonna stay here. But but for 5 years, it'd just be like continuously, like, find our community
Yeah.
and wherever that is, to be honest with you, because I am at that point where I'm like, "Maybe we should try living in a different country." I wanna be able to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But I think as long as we have that core base of, community and actually allowing our girls and ourselves to what is this? Let things flow. I'm just gonna go back to that word.
Yeah.
'Cause they they just mimic what we do, right? Like,
Yeah.
they mimic what we're feeling and how we address things, and
Yeah.
I know there's so many people who are like, "Oh, if you keep moving them, they're not gonna have stability," and I'm like, "But what is stability?" Like, it goes back to the answer of home,
Yep.
and what also has taught us too is, like, we need less things, like, I was here and I'm, like, buying things just because in our culture, it's just, like, normal. Like, "Oh, I need to get this. I need to buy that. I need to have 5 of those." And, like, you go to the supermarket, what do? "I need to buy things for the week." So you go to Costco, you buy the big boxes, you buy the big things,
Yeah.
and here, nobody's doing that. Like, if you're doing it, they're like, "How many people are you feeding? Are you having a party?" That's what they tell you. "Are you having a party?" I'm like, "No, getting stuff for the week." They're like, "Why? Get stuff for tomorrow, like, not for the week." And so it's changed our perspective of life,
Yeah.
like consumerism, how we don't need it. Like, and I know I see people's stories and they're just like buying, they buy, buying, and it almost triggers me. It's kind of a
Mm.
weird emotion now that I'm having about being triggered. I'm like, oh, like why would they? Like, there's so much more. They could be happier. Because then I don't know. It's just one of those things that you look back at and you're, like you said, you're not proud of. Because
Yeah.
I was sucked into that consumerism. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm gonna keep going back with the flow of whatever happens in the
Yeah.
next 5 years.
I love that. I'm so curious if, through your ebbs and flows, right? You've learned to flow through what is thrown at you in all of this big transition. But do you have like one habit or ritual or rhythm that you do, if not every day, most days, that just kind of helps ground you into setting yourself up to like feel good for each day, to go with the flow, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I would like to say in the morning, I treat every morning like a ritual, to be honest with you. Like, every morning, I don't need to be in a rush. Our girls' school doesn't start till 9. So yeah. And if we have the choice, we can pull them out for siesta, and so then they're home for, like, 3 hours, and then they could go back to school. So they have this long break in between, and then they go to
Wow.
school because they honor the siesta for the schools too. And
Wow.
so they get to come home with us, they get to eat, they get to just relax and be in our presence and then go back to school to go back and, like, "All right, let's get back into the flow of things." So every morning is not rushed. Like, I don't need to go anywhere, I don't need to get in the car, I don't need to take them to school, like, we walk to the school. Our school's 3 minutes away. And we just every morning, my husband has his routine of making coffee and making their breakfast, and I'm doing their hair. We're just doing this nice flowing of
Mhm.
activities in the morning. But I always remind myself, make your water, make your magnesium, potassium,
Yes.
creatine water, like, and slowly, like, make that. What are you in the rush for? Why didn't you do it? And so on the days that I don't do it, it actually makes me reflect. What were you doing today that made you such in a hurry that you couldn't make your water? Because
Mm.
it's scooping the magnesium, it's scooping the creatine, it's scooping the cream of tartar for the potassium, squeezing the lemon. It's a ritual of things that are allowing my brain to slow down to create this elixir to start my day hydrated, right? But also it's a reminder of slowing down as well. So yeah, that would be my go-to thing every day, slow down in the ritual mornings.
I love that because even how you were saying the water, it's like I prepare my waters the night before because I feel like I don't quote unquote have time in the
Yeah.
morning, right?
Mhm.
And that's funny that you say that because I reflect, I feel like I'm very sacred with my morning time to not feel rushed, to get up where with ease and wake up with the sun and get my bare eyes in the sunlight and my feet in the ground. And yet, like, I have some reflection to do about that. I feel like I had to make all the waters the night before because there isn't enough time in the morning, but I think it's just like you said, it's a lot of self-reflection. Each day
Yeah.
is an opportunity for us to live in a way where we feel, proud of integrity, of joy, right? Of the
Mhm.
happiness of being able to cultivate that. Like you said, yeah, there's stressors of everyday life. I mean, that's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You begin to build the resiliency to know that you're capable of it. But the self-reflection is a big theme that I'm hearing because it's opportunities to be like, what could I do differently next time?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What was rushing me in that moment? Or why do I feel like I need to be rushed? What is the scarcity mindset there? The lack of time, right? What is time? There we go.
Yeah.
Here's the other one. What is
Irrelevant.
time, right? Like, I see the deconstruction in your life of time.
Yeah.
And, even though I do homeschool our children, I know that I'm doing that by myself at home. And I just envision what that could look like when my husband is here doing that with us,
Yeah.
like it's just, it would be a whole new life of,
Mhm.
unity. And it does feel like our lives still revolve a little bit around him going to work on a time schedule. He has to be at work at a certain time. And so I'm so inspired by your story right now, even in my own life, that I feel like I've cultivated so much intentionality in our lives that I'm like, ooh, we can go with so much more. Like,
Yeah.
don't stop dreaming. Don't stop dreaming.
And
I
like you
feel
said,
like
we're dreamers. We're the women are dreamers,
yes,
right? And so
yes,
we need to push that to our husbands
yes,
because I feel like it's a socially, what is the word? That's in society, they say men need to work and take
yeah,
care of your family. That's all they're made to do.
hmm,
But what's outside of those walls,
yeah,
Outside of those walls could be like how great of a husband can you be to your wife so your wife can be a better mother? Or how can you tell your husband to dream more of like seeing your dreams come true into fruition? Like, oh, if that can happen to her, it can happen to me. And
yeah,
encouraging that, like you said, having that unity is another big thing that's lacking in our culture, right? I feel.
yeah,
And the unprogramming that has happened, that's been my favorite word. The unprogramming that has happened makes me realize how our society and our culture tells us how fast, how things need to be done, but in a corporate level and mind frame. It's never been to a family and fundamentals being a collective that way. It's never been that. It's always been individualism.
hmm,
And it's never been as much as we say, oh, we have community, but define that community, you know?
yeah,
Like, what does that look like?
yeah.
So I can understand where, yeah, we have to program our husbands.
Yeah. It is, like, I, like, literally for my birthday, because I know we're both May, I was like, for my birthday, I would like us to all make a family vision board." And my husband was like, "What?" I'm like, "That's what I want for my birthday, like, can we just, like, dream up and, like, look at our dreams on a daily basis so that they can
Yeah,
come to fruition? Like, that was
yeah.
literally my birthday gift.
You're like, "We're very simple. We're very simple-minded. We just need you to, like, understand and get on our program." Like, what's so hard?
I'm so curious. Do you know your human design at all?
You know, this question, it's been coming up recently, which is interesting that you asked me. But now I wanted to look at it because is that the ones was like generator?
Mhm, mhm.
I think I may have a while back, but I don't remember what it was.
I'm
Or
so
maybe I do.
curious. Because just to hear your tenacity and, like, knowing, like, your what and letting go of the how, I'm just so curious of, what your main human design type is. You'll have to look it up and
I'll
let me
do it
know.
now. I'm telling you, you're probably like the third person in the last couple of weeks because I've been hanging out with a bunch of more spiritual people, and they're like, "Do you know what your human design?" I'm like, "Should I know what my human design is?" Because I'm like telling them about how I'm doing the sound and therapy and stuff like that, and they're like, "Wait, what? Like, you're just like go, go, go." And I'm like, "I don't know. I feel like I'm programmed. Like, I need to operate at this level."
Yeah.
And my husband knows, like, anytime I say things, he's like, "Great." He
Yep.
already knows. He's saying
Yep.
great because he tells people it's gonna happen.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how, but it always does. She just finds a way. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm grateful for whatever lineage down the line gave me this power, but I am honoring it and using it because other
Yes.
people don't. Other
Yes.
people are like, nope, there's too much to get to that endpoint. When in reality, if you look at it, it really isn't. It's like you're going back to the materialistic. It's just paperwork, finding this, finding that. Like it's things that are tangible.
Mhm.
These are things that you can't, these are not obtainable things. Like these are things that are tangible that you can actually do.
Yeah.
It's a
And
matter of
breaking it
keeping
into
in mind.
those parts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if I see my end goal, that can feel overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
But if I
Yeah.
just break it down to, "Okay, well, this is my next step, and I'm only gonna focus on that." That can, like,
Hmm.
help shield out the looking up the mountain of, like, "Can I
Yeah.
climb this?" Like, actually
Yeah.
get to that first rock, climb that first, get
Yeah.
there, then evaluate what is next, right? And
Mhm.
so, gosh, I'm just so inspired by your story, and I cannot wait for people to hear this because I think it's just so attainable. It's so attainable. Like, we just
Yeah.
need to begin to daydream, right? Like, I used to do that all the time as a kid, daydream. I feel like we when we get into seriousness of life and the
People
rote,
play. Yeah.
right? We stop using our imagination.
Yeah.
And I think that, becoming a mother has helped re-enliven that within myself. Like, I see my children create, I'm like, "How did you just
Sure.
paint that?" Like,
Yeah.
and not worrying about the lines, and I'm like, I've like, I wanna tap back into that ability within myself to just
Yeah.
create for the sake of creation, not for
Yeah.
the end goal, but just to, like, create and see, like, what unfolds from that.
I always tell the girls, like, I always do the little, like, SpongeBob, like, rainbow imagination. Like, they're like, "I'm bored." I'm like, "Use your imagine." He's like, "Why do you have to do that?" Like, I'm like, "I don't know, just like, we need to."
Really, my
We're
kids
small
play
child.
yes, my kids play a game called Imagine, like, "Imagine da 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 da," and I was like, "Wait, this is a really actually great game. What if we started to use the things that we want?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "No, but we're just having fun." I'm like, "No, no, 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 but let's really make this a game. Imagine if we were all just living over here."
In the woods, in our wood house. And they're like, "Let's not. You're killing the game, mother." You're like, but yeah,
Well,
no, it's just like I always tell people at the beginning when they always ask me, like, "What kind of advice would you give me?" And my
yes.
advice would be to dream big. And the bigger you dream, the bigger, I'm telling you, it almost enlightens this fire inside of you to be a bigger person. And I'm not saying like a bigger person like physical. I'm
Mm,
talking about internally, like envisioning that life outside of you is so much bigger and so much worth living. So that, if I could give any piece of advice, and I know that sounds almost cliche or anything, but it's just we don't. Like you're talking about daydreaming. How many of us daydream? Because we
yep,
don't make the time to daydream,
yep,
you know?
yep. Our thoughts go to our everyday, the bills, the things, the schedule. That's what our mind goes to, but like you
Yep.
said, can you give yourself time to be bored? like kids,
They're
like
like, "Kids."
I'm bored. I'm like, great, that's amazing. They're like, what? And I'm like, that's the best thing in the world. What's gonna come out of this boredom?
They're like, "Nothing now that you're talking."
Oh
It's
my
so hard.
goodness. I'm just so grateful for your time and your energy and just your willingness to share your story because uh, it has already inspired me, and I cannot wait to take the seeds that are planted in my own heart and just see what is going to transform in my life within the next few months because I feel that fire within me. Like you have
Yeah.
such a magnetic energy to like, yes, you can do it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Don't do it. That's why my friend said you need to be a business coach because I'm like, just do this, this. And they're like, okay, I can do it. They're standing on their 2 feet. I'm like, they're like, thank you. Thank you. I'm like, why are you thanking me? The power wasn't within you. I
Yes,
just like almost was a lighter, just showing you like how to keep the flame on, like
yes,
that is my purpose is to make sure to like remind people of their fire within them and remind them of their power because you already have it in you. I'm just
yes,
helping you. I'm just a tool to help you realize how big you can dream and how it can be obtainable and how anybody can do it. Like I started from nothing, nothing. So you cannot tell me, oh, she has money. Oh, she had this. I had nothing. I was daydreaming. I'm wishing I had one client and now I have
yes,
26. Like,
yes.
so it's just, you
I'm
can
gonna
do
take
it.
that seed into me. No.
Here, grab it from the screen. It's there.
I'm just so blessed by this conversation, and I'm blessed by your energy and your story, and I know that it's going
Yeah,
to just bloom in other people's lives. But I would
thank
love to
you.
know where, if you're okay with people connecting with you through social media, would you like to share your social media handles?
So we are actually working on our YouTube channel, which
Yes.
another thing, another dream of mine. But like my husband has been like, man, going head on with this YouTube channel. And it's basically about our lives in Valencia. If people are interested in schools or people are interested in the just the livelihood here, the holidays, they have so many holidays here. The girls hardly go to school. People are like, they're off again. I'm like, yes, for another week. Like, they're like, a dog crossed the church last week and now we're celebrating that. Like all the time, we're celebrating something.
Oh my gosh, that's
Never post
amazing.
about it because this is insane. But we post about our lives. We post about things that we're like, uneasy about things because people, like you said, think that everything is perfect, but we just share about our lives here. And our YouTube is called Hola Spain. So HOLA Spain. And then so you can subscribe there and watch our videos as we transcend into our reality here. And then my Instagram is just my name, Sue Ellen_Osorio. And there I'm just I go between posting about our family stuff and then going back into like affirmations to remind people and then going back into like sound healing. So it's just like my mind is my Instagram. It's all crazy. That's what my Instagram is. I need to organize it. But yeah, thanks for sharing
I
that. And
love
thanks
that.
for,
Yeah, and I'll make sure to link all of that in the show notes and on the YouTube. I always post on YouTube as well, so I'll make sure to add you as a collab.
oh
That
yeah,
way it's
perfect.
easier for people to connect with you.
Perfect. Yeah. We're just learning about YouTube and all the things. Someone had told me, they're like, you need to put your presence out there. And so I told my husband, we need to do something. And he just ran with it. And so now that's his full-time job because editing, as you know,
Yes.
takes
Yes.
days.
Yes. Just so everyone is clear, it's another job in
It's
itself.
a full-time job. Listen, my husband, that's all he does. Full-time job.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I'll make sure that we link all of that so people can connect with you and y'all's journey and story and just continue to be inspired by the way y'all are living and cultivating your
Thank
life
you.
with intention. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me on your beautiful podcast and for honoring the space and allowing me to talk about my journey and just giving a piece of advice for people that really need it.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, I'm sending y'all with so much love and blessings. Thank you for tuning
Thank you.
in.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. It has truly been an honor to walk alongside you and share my journey of motherhood with you. If you feel connected with this episode, I would just so love if you could leave a rating and a review. This really helps the podcast grow so that it can reach other mothers and women along this journey. And I always love hearing your takeaways and your interactions with this podcast. So if you ever feel called to share on Instagram and social media, be sure to tag me at the.embodied.mother so I can connect with you and your takeaways from this podcast. Until next time, I'm sending you with so much love and blessings on your journey in this life.